Welcome to the Courtroom Chronicles. This channel is dedicated to educational content based on real-life cases and true events. This content shared here is drawn directly from the actual case file, and no names, places, or items have been changed. However, the content has been carefully summarized and presented for educational purposes in a comprehension format to inform, enlighten, and spark meaningful discussions. Whether you're here to learn, reflect, or simply understand the real-world scenarios better, you're in the right place. We believe in the power of truthful storytelling to educate and inspire. Disclaimer: while all stories are based on real cases, they are presented in a condensed and structured format for clarity and learning. Viewer discretion is advised where necessary. This case is cited from the Nigerian National Industrial Court online file, which is public record. The Case of the Unyielding Dues, a tale from the Nigerian Industrial Court. In the quiet halls of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, Calabar Division, a significant matter once again came before the bench of Honorable Mr. Justice Sanusi Kado. It was not the first time the court had heard this dispute. The case, now filed as suit number NICNCA 20M2025, stemmed from a judgment rendered almost a decade earlier, on July 12, 2016, in suit no. NICN CA/04, 2016. At the heart of the case was a persistent legal battle between the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, the judgment creditor, and the local government pension board, one of the judgment debtors. The story began with a court order that had been clear and firm. The 11th defendant, the local government pension board, was prohibited from collecting checkoff dues from members of the union. The court had ruled in favor of the union, recognizing their exclusive right to manage these dues. However, what followed was a prolonged act of defiance. Despite the court's ruling, the pension board continued to collect these dues and failed to remit them to the rightful owners, the union. Year after year, they held on to the funds, as if the judgment had never been passed. And so, 6 years passed in silence and non-compliance. Now, in 2025, the union returned to court, not to re-argue their case, but to seek enforcement of the ruling they had already won. But the passage of time brought new challenges. The law demanded that any judgment not enforced within 6 years required a special leave of court to be carried out. The union, represented by their diligent counsel, Mr. F.N. Nakamata, filed a motion ex parte under Order 4, Rule 8 of the Judgment Enforcement Rules, relying on Section 94 of the Sheriffs and Civil Process Act, SHAP S6 LFN 2004. In court, Justice Kado reviewed the supporting affidavit and the compelling legal arguments laid before him. The facts were unambiguous. The pension board had continued its deductions in violation of a standing court order. The judge noted this with due seriousness. This was no oversight. It was a continued act of disobedience. And so, the court delivered its decision. The motion was granted. The union was given leave to enforce the 2016 judgment. At last, they could take action to recover what was rightfully theirs. The pension board had lost this round, as they had in the previous one, not because of a new argument, but because they failed to obey a lawful order. Yet beyond the judgment lay lessons, warnings for institutions and unions alike. This conflict could have been avoided entirely had the pension board respected the court's authority and complied with the ruling. Public institutions, the court remarked, must be models of legal obedience. Ignoring judgments not only erodes the rule of law, but exposes them to further litigation and possible contempt actions. There was also a lesson for the union. While their delay was legally permitted with proper application, it introduced avoidable hurdles. Enforcement, when delayed, can grow complicated. From this event, 3 key takeaways emerge. 1. Public bodies must establish systems to track and implement court orders efficiently. 2. Judgment creditors must act promptly to avoid unnecessary legal obstacles. 3. Ongoing legal education for officials and union representatives is essential to fostering respect for the judicial process. And thus, another chapter in the Courtroom Chronicles came to a close, not just with a ruling, but with a story that reminds us all of the importance of justice, vigilance, and the rule of law. Thanks so much for watching, fam. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know what you think about the case. I love hearing your thoughts and feedback. And hey, if you felt a connection or learned something new, give this video a like and share it with someone who might enjoy it too. Until next time, stay safe, stay real, and I'll catch you in the next one.